What happens when a movie feels so real that even people who lived through the event say, yes, this is exactly how it happened? Some films don't just recreate history, they drop you right into the mud, the fear, and the tension of the moment. Halfway through, you forget you are watching a movie, and by the end, you might wonder if you should have braced yourself earlier. Let's begin. Number 12. Come and See 1985. It begins with the look on a young boy's face, and from that moment on, you already sense this will not be the usual story. Come and See feels less like a film and more like a memory you are forced to walk through. Director L.M. Klimov and his team created something so close to lived reality that even veterans reportedly had a hard time sitting through it. They used local villages in Belarus, real locations, and natural light to keep everything grounded. What makes this film so powerful is how it places the viewer inside the experience of a child caught in a world falling apart. Instead of dramatic speeches or heroic moments, it shows the quiet panic and confusion of ordinary people. The movements, the sounds, the stillness before danger all feel painfully genuine. The lead actor, only 14 years old at the time, went through heavy emotional strain during filming. Klimov kept the camera close, letting fear and shock play across the boy's face in real time. The result is a film that historians praise for capturing not the strategy of the conflict, but the emotional truth of what people endured. Come and See remains one of the most realistic portrayals of a shaken world ever put on screen. Number 11. Saving Private Ryan, 1998. The first 20 minutes hit like a jolt. You are standing on a beach, the world is chaos, and nobody gives you time to think. That opening sequence of Saving Private Ryan became famous because veterans said it felt exactly like stepping into unpredictable terrain. Director Steven Spielberg avoided dramatic camera tricks and instead used a restless, shaky style to make every moment feel unstable. Spielberg deliberately kept the set unpredictable. Extras had no idea when certain events would start, so their reactions were genuine. The cast trained with real veterans, learning how squads moved, communicated, and reacted under extreme pressure. Even the smallest details, like how someone grips the side of a landing craft or how they brace before moving forward, came from people who lived it. But the realism doesn't end on the beach. The quieter moments, the tired walks through fields, and the tense movement through ruined towns all reflect first-hand accounts from historical reports and soldiers' journals. The movie never tries to glamorize anything. Instead, it shows the weight people carried, the uncertainty of every decision, and the exhaustion that never seemed to end. Saving Private Ryan remains one of the most authentic depictions of a large-scale mission ever filmed, and it set a new standard for realism in cinema. Number 10. Das Boot, 1981. If you have ever wondered what it truly feels like to live inside a narrow steel tube deep below the water, Das Boot gives you that experience with unsettling accuracy. Instead of big dramatic scenes, the film focuses on the daily grind inside a submarine, where the air gets heavy, the walls drip with moisture, and every sound could mean danger. Director Wolfgang Petersen built full-scale interiors that moved and shifted just like the real thing. Lights flickered, pipes hissed, and the cast worked in close quarters until the tension became natural. They rehearsed inside the set for weeks, so their movements felt instinctive, not choreographed. Nothing looked staged because almost nothing was. Historians have praised the film for showing the strain of long missions. People grew tired, grew quiet, and sometimes grew frustrated with each other. The film also shows the constant waiting, which is something most stories skip. It is not just the intense moments that feel real, it is the long stretches of anticipation. Das Boot succeeds because it does not try to make anyone a hero or a villain. It focuses on human beings stuck together in a confined space, dealing with fatigue, fear, and long hours of silence. By the end, you feel like you lived every moment alongside them. Number 9. Black Hawk, down 2001. This film wastes no time dropping you into a fast-moving situation where everything depends on communication, teamwork, and staying calm under pressure. Black Hawk Down is built almost entirely on first-hand accounts from the people who were actually there. And that gives the movie a level of authenticity you can feel in every scene. Ridley Scott approached the story like a documentary. The cast trained with real service members to learn how groups moved together, how they relied on each other, and how decisions were made in unpredictable situations. Many of the actors even practiced in full gear for days before filming, so their movements looked natural, not staged. What makes the film so accurate is its focus on confusion. There is no perfect order, no clear plan, and no time to stand still. Historians pointed out that the movie captures how fast things can change in the middle of a mission and how quickly people must adapt. It also shows the teamwork that forms between individuals from different backgrounds when everything starts falling apart. By sticking closely to eyewitness reports and avoiding unnecessary dramatization, Black Hawk Down remains one of the most realistic portrayals of a modern operation ever brought to the screen. It is intense, grounded, and true to the people involved. Number 8. We Were Soldiers, 2002. This film stands out because it feels incredibly personal. It is based directly on the memoir of Lieutenant General Hal Moore and journalist Joseph Galloway, two people who lived through the events and later worked closely with the filmmakers. That connection gives We Were Soldiers a level of emotional detail that goes far beyond typical storytelling. The production team brought in real veterans who explained how groups moved, how they communicated, and how they stayed organized in situations where everything felt unpredictable. Director Randall Wallace made accuracy a priority, staying true to the tone and spirit of the original accounts. Even small details, like the way people interacted during brief moments of calm, came directly from real memories. The film also shows the human side of leadership. Hal Moore is portrayed not as a larger-than-life figure, but as someone who cared deeply about his team, understood the responsibility on his shoulders, and never forgot the people who stood beside him. The movie balances tense scenes with quiet moments that feel just as real. We Were Soldiers is often praised for showing both sides of the experience, the intensity of the mission and the emotional weight carried by the people involved. It is honest, grounded, and respectful, making it one of the most accurate stories ever brought to film. Number 7. Platoon 1986. Platoon doesn't just recreate a moment in history, it recreates the feeling of being there. Director Oliver Stone served in Vietnam himself, and instead of trying to impress viewers with dramatic hero shots, he focused on small, brutally honest details. The film feels lived in, because almost every scene is based on Stone's own observations, memories, and the stories of the people he served with. The cast didn't get the usual movie star treatment. They were dropped into the jungle for nearly a month, living in uncomfortable conditions while undergoing intense training. They slept in rough terrain, carried full gear, and were expected to move like real squads. By the time the cameras rolled, they weren't acting, they were reacting. That authenticity shows in every step, every glance, every moment of uncertainty. Rather than showing a clear good side and bad side, Platoon focuses on confusion, exhaustion, and pressure. It reveals how quickly trust can break, how fast situations shift, and how people cope when pushed to their limits. The movie reflects the emotional truth of the conflict. Not everyone agreed on why they were there, what they were doing, or how they should feel about it. Platoon remains one of the most realistic depictions of the Vietnam experience, capturing not just the events, but the atmosphere, the tension, and the inner conflict of the people involved. Number 6. Letters from Iwo Jima, 2006. This film takes a unique approach by stepping into the shoes of the people on the other side of the battle, instead of focusing solely on the American viewpoint. Letters from Iwo Jima tells the story through the diaries, letters, and memories of Japanese soldiers who lived through the conflict. Director Clint Eastwood avoided glamorization and focused on the everyday experiences of individuals trying to survive in a harsh environment. The production team used real letters written by General Tadamichi Kuribayashi and other soldiers. Those writings shaped not only the dialogue, but the tone of the entire film. The small exchanges between characters, quick jokes, quiet worries, private thoughts, came from actual transcripts and records. That gives the film an emotional honesty that history experts praise. Instead of wide, flashy action shots, the movie pays close attention to personal moments, Soldiers talk about their families, reflect on decisions, and struggle with fear. These subtle details help viewers understand the human side of the conflict, not just the historical facts. Letters from Iwo Jima succeeds because it shows respect for real memories. It reveals how people from different backgrounds viewed the same event, and how shared emotions like fear, honor, and hope connect them. It remains one of the most accurate and thoughtful portrayals of a major battle ever brought to screen. Number 5. Hacksaw Ridge, 2016. Hacksaw Ridge is the story of Desmond Doss, a man who stepped into one of the most demanding situations of the 20th century with a goal that seemed impossible for many: to help others without causing harm. The filmmakers worked closely with records, interviews, and handwritten accounts to capture the spirit of Doss's journey. Although the timeline is slightly compressed for pacing, the emotional truth of the story is remarkably accurate. Director Mel Gibson focused on the conditions people faced on the ridge. The rough terrain, the exhaustion, and the extremely close quarters are all recreated using real layouts and eyewitness descriptions. Crew members studied original reports to ensure movements, formations, and decisions matched what happened during the event. Even the simple gestures, like how people shielded themselves or climbed over uneven ground, were shaped by veteran input. What makes the film powerful is its focus on quiet determination. Instead of turning Doss into a flawless hero, the movie shows his doubts, his struggles, and his moments of exhaustion. It highlights the bond between teammates, the pressure of responsibility, and the courage it took for one person to keep helping when conditions felt impossible. Hacksaw Ridge is praised by historians for capturing the emotional and physical reality of that moment in history, making it one of the most accurate portrayals of an individual's bravery ever filmed. Number 4. Generation Kill, 2008. Though technically a mini-series, Generation Kill delivers such a high level of accuracy that it deserves a place on this list. Based on a journalist's real-time notes during the early stages of the Iraq conflict, the series shows what happens when a camera captures the small, unscripted moments most productions leave out. There are no exaggerated heroics. There are no flashy speeches. Instead, the story focuses on real people dealing with long hours, unclear instructions, and unpredictable changes. The script was shaped directly from the journalists' recordings and interviews. Real service members worked on set, correcting details, coaching actors, and advising the crew on how to portray daily routines. They ensured everything felt natural: the way groups talked, the way they teased each other, and the way they reacted under pressure. Instead of focusing solely on action, Generation Kill highlights the emotional side of missions: the tired faces, the long waits, the jokes used to break tension, and the moments of frustration when plans shift without warning. These smaller details are part of what makes the series so accurate. Generation Kill succeeds because it treats the story as a true account rather than a spectacle. It captures the rhythm of real operations, the personalities involved, and the confusion that comes with constantly changing situations. Number 3. Band of Brothers, 2001. Band of Brothers is more than a dramatization. It is a tribute, crafted with extraordinary care. The creators studied interviews, journals, and first-hand accounts from the real members of Easy Company. Many of those men were still alive when production began, and their guidance shaped everything from dialogue to the way scenes were staged. The cast did not simply rehearse their lines. They went through a full training program designed to build trust, teamwork, and instinctive movement. By the time filming began, they understood not just how to stand or run, but how to look out for each other, just like the real Easy Company. The attention to detail is unmatched. Uniforms were tailored based on original examples. Sets were built using photographs and video footage from the era. Even the weather, lighting, and sound design were modeled after recorded conditions. But what truly sets Band of Brothers apart is its emotional accuracy. The small conversations, the tired expressions, the friendships, and the difficult choices all come from real memories shared by the people who lived them. Band of Brothers remains one of the most accurate historical productions ever created, and its respect for real individuals is clear in every episode. Number 2. Lone Survivor, 2013. Lone Survivor stands out because it is built directly from the memories of the only man who made it out of that mountainside operation alive. Marcus Luttrell documented every detail he could remember, and his account shaped not only the story, but the way the characters move, think, and speak. Director Peter Berg kept the production tightly focused on accuracy, spending time with people who knew Luttrell and participated in similar missions. The terrain, which becomes its own challenge, was carefully studied. Instead of using soft, flat ground or studio-built slopes, the team chose rugged landscapes that mirrored the real conditions. Actors trained on those hills so their movements would look instinctive rather than staged. The cast also learned how to work as a tight-knit group, because the real mission relied heavily on trust, timing, and communication. The film captures the physical exhaustion of climbing through tough ground and the mental weight of quick decisions. What makes Lone Survivor so realistic is the emphasis on teamwork and loyalty. These are not just people following a plan. They are friends relying on each other when things start to fall apart. Lone Survivor remains one of the most honest portrayals of a modern mission, showing the emotional strength and resilience of people who stood side by side even when everything seemed impossible. Number 1. 1917, 2019. 1917 may not follow one specific real person, but almost every moment in the film is pulled from true accounts, told by veterans, and passed down through families. Director Sam Mendes based the story on his grandfather's memories, along with hundreds of documented reports describing trench life in the First World War. The result is a story that feels startlingly real, as if someone opened a window into the past and let viewers look inside. The famous one-shot style adds to the realism. Instead of cutting away, the camera walks beside the main characters, gliding over muddy ground, weaving through narrow trenches, and slipping into dim bunkers that feel cramped and claustrophobic. The continuous movement mirrors the way real messengers had to navigate unpredictable routes. Production teams studied original maps, journals, and photographs to recreate trenches with astonishing detail. Nothing feels staged. The mud is thick, the air is heavy, and the tension builds slowly in quiet, subtle ways. Even moments between major scenes, a short rest, a careful glance, a slow walk through farmland, are crafted from real stories shared by people who lived similar experiences. 1917 succeeds because it is not just a film about history. It is a film about endurance, responsibility, and what it feels like to carry a message that could change the outcome for others. Realism in cinema is rare, but these films remind us that accuracy can be just as gripping as any big, dramatic twist. They show the pressure, the doubt, the teamwork, and the small moments that shaped real lives. If any entry surprised you or changed the way you look at history, share your thoughts below. Make sure to like, subscribe, and pass this video on. And tell us, which story should we break down next?